if they all follow orders. So that's where they should be on their own. To a certain extent, they should feel that they can go ahead and reverse the orders and go about their business.
We recently had the Belmont Stakes. We had almost a Triple Crown this year. Do you still, after all this time, do you get bitten by the excitement of the Belmont Stakes?
I thought it was a great day. Yeah. Well, that's a race that I really, really would like to win sometime as a trainer. Everybody has an ambition, and I have. The Derby would be wonderful, but I've never thought that much about that. But the Travers and the Belmont, Travers at Saratoga and the Belmont Stakes are two races I'd like to win. I've been third in both of them, but that's as close as I've come. So 2 starts, 2 thirds. Yeah, that was an exciting day. 3 good horses. Right. They weren't great, because when you say great, it's impossible to have 3 great horses at the same time. It doesn't happen.
All right.
So these are 3 very good horses, and they did it well.
Now, people are familiar, the general public sees about 3 horse races on television a year. They see Kentucky Derby, Preakness, Belmont.
Right.
What are some of the other really important races that horse trainers like yourself really want to win?
The Travers at Saratoga is just an absolute classic. If you train a lot of fillies, which I have, the Alabama at Saratoga, 1.25 miles for fillies and 3-year-old fillies, in August is a tremendous race, and when you win that, you felt you've done something.
What makes those tremendous races?
Because they've been renewed for 125 years. They've been timed for 125 years. Some of the great, like the fillies in the Alabama, some of the winners have produced great horses. They've produced winners of the Alabama. All right. I won the Alabama with a filly, and her daughter won the Alabama, Sky Beauty. So, it's important. It's very important.
Now, in addition to being a trainer, I mentioned at the Open that you were also an owner.
Yes, and breeder.
And breeder. Why did you get into that, and how did you get into that end of the business?
I always wanted to do that. You know how you always think you're smarter than the next guy at something, and I've always read about these, or I did when I was young, about the cheap purchase that turns out to be the world beater. Well, it doesn't always happen, but you don't have to spend a lot of money if you read the books and study breeding. It's helped our family. Right. It's put 2 girls through college and kept me. And these are tough times for racing right now. A lot of trainers are hurting. There's not as many owners in the business. There's not as much money out there for trainers. Expenses are high, and the breeding has saved us.
All right. And it is truly a family business.
Strictly my wife and my 2 daughters and myself. And 100%.
Where do you actually?
Well, we breed in New York and Kentucky, and we rotate them around. We've got right now maybe 4 mares we own outright and a partnership mare, and we rotate them between Kentucky and New York. And we raise the foals in Florida, because I think it's the best place to raise foals.
Why? Just because of the weather?
I think the limestone in the Ocala, Florida area, yeah, the weather year-round, but it's not always hot. It gets down to 15, 20 above in Ocala, northern Florida. But the limestone, it just seems like Ireland, New Zealand, and Ocala, Florida turn out to be the best places to raise horses.
Right. Do people have a preference in terms of, you breed horses both in Kentucky and New York, do people have any kind of feeling about a Kentucky horse compared to a New York horse?
Well, the best stallions really stand in Kentucky, and if a stallion in Florida or New York gets real successful, they'll buy him and bring him to Kentucky.
Right.
So, whoever controls the stallions controls the breeding industry, but at the same time, we go to Kentucky, we breed them, and we bring them up here, and they have a bill that allows us to get bonuses if the horse is bred in New York, and we take advantage of that.
And you're part owner of most of the horses, or a third?
I would say out of the 27 horses, at least 9 I own half of in the stable, and a couple we own outright. When I say I mean our family.
Now, is there a different kind of psychology between being a trainer and an owner? And do you ever kind of have a feeling like, as a trainer, I'd like to do this with the horse, but as an owner, I think I should do this?
Better protect the investment. Yeah, you think pretty hard. You think pretty hard about any move you might make with your own money.
Right. Right. Now, how do you find when you breed the horse, and I guess you're going to sell a part of the horse?
Yes.
How do you find your partners?
I know some people that I call first, and I've never, they always come in.
Right.
Some of them will say, I want to wait a little while. What they mean is that they want me to pay the bills for a while longer.
Right.
And then they'll come in.
Right. You talked a moment ago about races that you would love to win. As a trainer, I mean, do you dream of like finding the next great horse? I mean, do you aspire to find the next Secretariat or the next Seattle Stakes?
I'm always, well, that would be great. I'm always looking, but I'm not dreaming, you know. It's a very realistic business.
Right.
You know, when you first start to let the young horses go along a pretty fast clip, whether you've got something or not. Right. And if we have a Seattle Slough cost $17,500, and Secretariat was the flip of a coin in full sharing with Bull Ruler by some very rich people. So they come in all shapes and sizes and from all different economic areas.
Phil Johnson, it's been my pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dan.
I'm Danny McCue of Antioch Community Newspapers, and you've been watching Insight Nassau. Good night.